In this lesson, we will be covering the Pythagoras theorem, and hopefully we should be able to use the Pythagoras theorem to find the shorter side of a triangle. The equipment that you will need for this lesson are pen and paper, calculator, pencil and a ruler. The keywords for this lesson are right angle triangle, hypotenuse, square and square root. Okay, so with the first example that we have on the board is we've been given a triangle and we need to find the value of x. So the first thing we need to do, just like we did in the previous lesson, is to label the triangle correctly. So the side opposite the right angle we will call side C, and the other two sides we can call A and B. Doesn't matter which one you call A and which one you call B, as long as the hypotenuse, which is the longest side of a triangle, is called side C. The first step that we need to do is we need to write down the formula, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The next step that we need to do is insert the information that we've been given in the question. So instead of a squared, I will write down x squared. And b squared, well, we're calling the side that is 5 centimeters b, so that instead of b we'll write down 5 squared, and instead of c we will write down 13 squared. The next step, what I need to do is I need to carry out the calculations. So x squared we don't know, so we leave it as x squared, but 5 squared we know is 25, and 13 squared we know is 169. So we should have x squared plus 25 equals 169. Now we are trying to work out the value of x. So what I need to do is I need to use my knowledge from the previous lessons on solving equations to rearrange this to find the value of x. So I will subtract 25 from both sides. That will leave me with x squared on the left and 144 on the right. So x squared equals 144. Therefore, to find out the value of x, I will just need to square root 144. So x equals 12 centimeters. In this question we have two triangles that are stuck together forming a compound shape, and we need to find the value of x. So we need to find the value of x. Okay, now to find the value of x we would need the other two sides of the triangle. So if I look at triangle ABC, to find the value of x I would have needed side A and side B. However, as you should have identified, we don't actually have side B. So what I need to do first is find side B. Now how will I go about finding side B? Well, if I look at this big triangle, triangle BCD, I have been given the two sides. So therefore I can use them two sides to find the value of side BC. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label this big triangle using A, B and C. The side opposite the right angle, as we've already learnt, is always going to be called side C, with the other two sides called A and B. Doesn't matter which one we call A and which one we call B. The first thing we do is always write down the formula, so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The next step, insert the information we have been given in the question. So a is what we are trying to work out, so we leave that as a squared. B squared will be 13 squared, and finally c squared we will write that as 19 squared, because c is represented as 19. The next step, let's carry out our calculations. So a squared we don't know what a, so we leave that as a squared. 13 squared we do know is 169, and 19 squared 361. Remember, you are allowed to use a calculator for this question. The next step, what I need to do is I need to find out what a is. So I need to get rid of the 169 from the left hand side, and because I get rid of 169 from the left hand side, I will also get rid of it on the right hand side. That leaves me with a squared equals 361, take away 169, which equals 192. So therefore, to find out a, I will need to square root 192, and that leaves me with a equals square root of 192, which is 13.2 13.86 to 2 decimal places. So I'll write that out clearly, 13.86 centimeters. Now that I have found outside A, I'll write that in the question, and I can use that information to find the value of x. So let's put the first set of workings to a side, and let's work on this little triangle to find the value of x. So the first thing I need to do is label the triangle. So I'm going to rub this A out for now so that it doesn't confuse us, because the A was associated with the previous part of the question, and I will call this side C. The other two sides I will call A and B. Right, so the first step, let's write down the Pythagoras formula. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You must always write that formula down so it helps you to remember it in an exam, as you won't be given it in an exam. Next step, let's insert the information. So instead of a squared plus b squared, b is 5, so we'll write down 5 squared, and c we have just worked out as 13.86. Step 3, let's carry out our calculations. So a squared plus 5 squared equals 25, and 13.86 squared, let's find out what that is. And that gives us 192 to the nearest whole number. The next step is we will subtract 25 from both sides, and if I do that, I end up with a squared equaling 192, take away 25, which gives me 167. My last step will be to square root the 167 to find a. So let's square root 167, and what do I get? I will end up with 12.92. So a equals 12.92 centimeters. So I will just write down 12.92 centimeters. I will keep all of my workings to show the examiner each step to go about finding the value of x in this question. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to start from the red section if you are in set 4. If you're in set 3, you can start from question 3 on the red section and then move on to the green questions. What I want you to do is I want you to work out each question the way how I have shown my workings out, and upload your answers on class charts.